Hello everyone, I'm Selena. I think the purpose of the test is to discover the role federal government and school administration play in the return of segregation in school districts. The ruling of Brown case in 1954 disapproved the segregation in public school, and it did bring improvements to some degree in 1960s and 1970s. The enrollment of minority groups in public school has kept increasing since then. So, for example, the number of Hispanic students is 3 times than before, which reaches 7 million. African American students goes up to 8 million. Asian American is almost 2 million. The last is Native American is a bit more than 1/2 million. Although with most of Latino students and African American students are in the South and the West, is still a solid proof of desegregation advancement. However, the desegregation didn't last long. It started to slow down since 1980s, and it showed a trend towards school district resegregation. It says on average the school white students go to are 80% white. Only 14% of white students attend schools, have over 10% non-white students, and the most segregated students are Latinos instead of African American students before the Brown case. So what caused school segregation coming back? In the 1980s, upon completion of this reading, I'm more knowledgeable about various perspectives on controversial issues relating to education based on how the author analyzed potential factors which caused the resegregation then, and concludes that it's not about residential patterns because there's no connection between African American school segregation and the residential segregation. Also, it's not school choice because the data shows the private school choice has little impact on the increased segregation in public school. Turns out it's the elected conservative judiciary who tried to destroy the integration progress and bring back the segregation. For instance, the Missouri versus Jenkins in 1995, the court further constricted the extent and duration of desegregation remedies. As a result, the effect of the ruling later set a negative example for district courts. We know how segregated school affects students' educational opportunities, such as low test scores, student health, parental involvement, and the worst part is hard to keep good teachers stay. Under No Child Left Behind Act, to achieve equal educational results, educators cannot blame it on segregation because they will be criticized. However, if they fail, the school will be blamed, which leaves the educators and schools are in a dilemma situation. The one insight I gained from these readings is multiracial school will be the future. I think it makes sense because as the number of students from minority groups increase greatly, and it's the difficulty to prove the existence of segregation at school in court, to promote a multiracial school environment. It's a rightful plea to eliminate education inequality.